Oriskany Battlefield is a state park that can be reached by going east of Rome, Oneida County, by around 5 miles. A significant battle transpired here in August 1777, where many men died from both sides of the Revolutionary War. Peekskill. Peekskill is on the Hudson River, located in the northern part of Westchester County. Was settled by the Dutch in 1665 and was known as a trade town for farmers for 200 years. During the Revolutionary War, numerous military activities occurred here, including minor skirmishes. Vestiges of old buildings from that era still stand around Peekskill countryside. Raynham Hill on Oyster Bay, Long Island, is reachable by traveling 7 miles north of Northern State Parkway, exit 35. The British used this site as one of their many critical British encampments during the Revolution. Since the place is still underdeveloped, many traces of the camp may still be found. Sag Harbor, Long Island, remains a tiny village, just like when the British troops used it during the Revolution. Many encounters between the Patriots and the British occurred here. Remnants of many old colonial buildings make this a good site for exploration. Saratoga National Historical Park is situated on the Hudson River close to Bernice Heights Village in Saratoga County. Much military equipment was lost here from both sides of the Revolution during two of the most bloody clashes in 1977. The Schoharie Valley, settled by a large group of Palatines around 1700, is located on Schoharie County, close to Middleburg. Remnants of hundreds of Palatine homes destroyed by the Tories and Indians during the Revolutionary period can still be found here today. Over on Gallupville on New York 443 stands the ruins of an old stone fort. Before an Indian attack in 1734, many settlers hid their valuables in unknown locations. No one of them survived the attack. Setauket, Long Island, the only essential village in the central section of the region at the time of the Revolution, was first settled sometimes in 1650 by Boston Puritans. The Tories held the island the entire time of the war in 1777. The Patriots attacked the place twice, but both campaigns ended in defeat. The remnants of many colonial homes still littered the surrounding area. Sharon Springs Battlefield off US 20 is situated between Sharon Springs, Schoharie County, was the battleground where a small band of patriots won against a contingent of Tories and Indians that far outnumbered them, July 1781. The landscape is primarily open farmland to this day, and treasure hunters have recently found many artifacts there. Sprint Steele's farm can be reached by heading west of Stony Point, Rockland County, for about 1.5 miles. Anthony Wayne and his Patriot troops used this as a campsite in July 1779. Stone Arbadia, which covers about 20,000 acres in Mohawk Valley in Montgomery County, is bisected by New York 10, a site granted to Palatine settlers back in 1723. The valley still holds ruins of these early settlers' homes. A battle broke out a little north of the valley, north close to Palatine Bridge in 1780. The nearby Fort Kaiser, constructed way before the Revolution, was already destroyed and in ruins before the fight began. Fort Fry, Fort Wagner, and Fort Paris are hidden within 2-mile radius. Stony Point Battlefield is reachable by going 12 miles south of West Point and is situated close to Stony Point on the Hudson River on US 9 West. A battle broke out here on July 15, 1779, in which the Patriots won. Tappan is located somewhere across Dobbs Ferry, Rockland County, just 2.5 miles west of Hudson. The Dutch settled the area about 1675, as evidenced by some ruins of the houses still standing scattered in the region. Washington used this site as his headquarters several times, and this particular importance was held high by the Patriots when they utilized it as an encampment during the Revolution. If you enjoyed this program, please like it, subscribe it, and share it. Ticonderoga is situated on Lake Champlain, close to Lake George, Essex County, nearby its north end. In the course of the French and Indian War, the French chose Crown Point, which was 12 miles north of Ticonderoga, as the military outpost and fortified it. Still, upon learning that the British were on the south side of Lake George in 1755, busily constructing Fort William, the French started building Fort Ticonderoga. The British tried to capture the fort in 1758, but they failed, suffering 2,000 casualties. But a year later, the French deserted the fort, enabling the British to use it as their military outpost. The Patriots captured it at the beginning of the Revolution, only to lose it again to the French, constructed during the French and Indian War. About half a mile east of Ticonderoga was Fort Mount Hope, made to protect La Chute River, which connected Lake George and Lake Champlain. The currently resorted fort was alternately occupied by the British and the Americans during the Revolution. The British burned all buildings and barracks on either side of the lake when General Bourguignon surrendered at Saratoga in 1777. Treasure hunters still frequent these areas in search of many precious historical artifacts. Valcour Bay is found on the west side of Lake Champlain, 7 miles to the south of Plattsburgh. The British won a significant naval battle here on October 11, 1776. Buried beneath the bay shorelines are the buried remains of 2 Patriot vessels that were sunk during the conflict. Besides these, treasure hunters have recovered numerous additional antiquities dating back to this era here. Verplank's Point is a site situated opposite of Stony Point on the Hudson River, and it is a home to the secluded ruins of Fort Lafayette. The British captured this village in June 3, 1779, but the Patriots regained control of it after a year. West Point, on the Hudson River by New York 1218, covered by the Military Academy's ground, one can find the remains of numerous fortifications used during the Revolutionary War. Fort Patna, constructed in 1780 and restored recently, still stands atop the rocky hill up to this day. White Plains, located in Westchester County, is where a significant battle during the Revolutionary War took place on October 28, 1775. The particular site of the conflict and minor skirmishes are prominently marked today, including where artillery batteries stood in the hills nearby. Fort Brewington stands on US 11 by the western edge of Lake Oneida, Oswego County. The fort's earthworks built to safeguard the path for traveling from Fort Ontario to Albany and back, are its only remnants. Fort Brewington was used in two major historical events, the French and Indian War and Pontiac's Rebellion, which transpired from 1763 to 1766. Plattsburgh Bay National Landmark is located on Cumberland Bay in Lake Champlain, is east of Plattsburgh City. The British tried to capture New York State in maritime battle on September 11, 1814. They were held back by the Americans and forced 11,000 British settlers to flee to Canada and leave considerable military supplies, including those they buried. Fort Krilo. Fort Krilo is a plantation that stands by the city limits of Rensselaer County. A wealthy Dutch family began the settlement in 1630, but remains of the old buildings can no longer be found. The only ruin that has been left standing is that of Manor House, constructed in 1704 and inhabited until 1871. Sackett's Harbor Battlefield, located on Lake Ontario. Sackett's Harbor. One can reach this small harbor by traveling 10 miles west of Watertown, Jefferson County. It was the primary base for the United States naval operations conducted on Lake Ontario during the War of 1812, prompting the British to send troops to take it over in 1816. All of the harbor's original defenses were dismantled, leaving only some of the relics still visible today. If you enjoyed this program, please like it, subscribe it, and share it.